Well, a local congresswoman met with community members today to support their opposition to the closing of a post office that sits on a historic site. KPFT local news reporter David Rybicki joins us live in the studio with details. David.
Marlo, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee met with activists and other community members at the Southmore Station Post Office, the historic site of a 1960s civil rights demonstration that became Houston's first sit-in. Jackson Lee encouraged attendees to write letters to the U.S. Postal Vice President of Facilities with their objections to the post office closure. Jackson Lee says the post office never notified the community to let them know about the planned closure.
I am concerned, as other members of Congress are, with the process that is being utilized by the United States Post Office. They need some more guidance. And one of the issues that we're going to challenge is that this community never was given a notice. Never were given an opportunity in a community meeting to be heard. I held a town hall meeting. That was a 18th Congressional District town hall meeting. But the community was supposed to get its own meeting where the input could have been given. That is one failure in the process. The second is to wake up Houston, because the post office is going around and going to different states. Texas is now on the books. It'll be rural post office, urban post offices. And sadly, most of the Houstonians don't know their post office is slated to be closed. We're going to be the symbol of victory, to let people know that if you put in a fight, that you are going to turn this around.
Jackson Lee went on to say, in addition to being an important historical site, the Southmore Post Office is needed as census data indicates the area is growing.
I can't stand by and let this post office be closed because of real estate. This post office is needed in a census area that is growing. And that's the message that we have. It is growing. The city of Houston must join us and piling on with data and information that the Southmore Post Office is a vital link to a growing and developing and emerging community that has a terrace, that has a new academy for young women, that has a historic corridor called the Alameda Corridor that was named this 20 years plus ago because of the advocacy of this community, that has a direct line down Wheeler and a little bit to the left, or down Cleburne to Texas Southern University, where, as everyone knows, made its mark, where young, fearless students came to change not only America, but to change Houston, and came here, as these pictures depict, and sat down at a lunch counter to be able to change the hearts and minds of those who believed it was all right to live in a discriminatory community. This post office cannot be moved. Now, let's be very clear. We want it to be full service, and we think that it can.
Jackson Lee announced today that the U.S. Postal Service did extend the deadline for acceptance of letters objecting to the closure of the Southmore Post Office until March 26th. Any citizen of Houston can send a written statement identifying the post office name or location, the objection, and the reason for the objection. Letters should be sent to Vice President of Facilities, care of Sandra Rybicki, spelled R-Y-B-I-C-K-I, Real Estate Specialist, U.S. Postal Service, Southern Facilities Service Office, P.O. Box 667180, Dallas, Texas, 75266-7180. Marlo, back to you.
You know, that's a whole handful and a lot of information. So for those of you who want that information, go ahead and get a pen and paper, and David's going to give it to you again in just a moment. First, let me ask you a question while they're doing that, David. Are the residents there that you saw, are they still hopeful that they can stop this closure?
Yes, they are. They said they're going to fight for it, and Sheila Jackson Lee is fighting for them as well. And we have some other comments coming up here in the news. We talked to some of them. We'll play some of the audio clips of that for you.
All right, let's go ahead and get on to that, and then we'll come back with this information again, because, you know, while at that Jackson Lee's news conference held in front of the Southmore Post Office in Houston's historic 3rd Ward, we asked residents why it is important that the post office remains open. Here it is in their own words. Here's what a few of them had to say.
This is just an important facility in our neighborhood that will offer convenience for the many citizens who have been living here 50, 60 years, who are now retired, and they need the convenience of a full-service facility. We also have businesses and schools that will also benefit from this. And so I don't want, the post office to close this down simply because the real estate. It seems as though to be a full frontal attack of destroying our community, which I am vehemently against. They're closing our schools. They're trying to close down facilities. I mean, so what do we have? Now I understand what the civil rights activist said when she said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I think it's the conspiracy to bring it's a real estate conspiracy. People move in the neighborhood because of the school, because of the churches, because of the government facilities. And they're destroying them all. What have they not touched? The only thing that they cannot touch is the
very important because the post office is central in this area. That's the first reason. The second reason is because when you look at folk like my mom, with the centrality of it, it's accessible to them. We need a post office in this area. If not, where are we going? I'm with the Representative Lee. Where are we going? We have no place within a 5-10 mile radius because they're closing seemingly all of the post office in the neighborhood. So we do need a post office that is central. There are too many businesses.
It's very important, but they pulled up all the mailboxes too. So we don't have anywhere to put our mail. We have to go all the way downtown. Went downtown last night and the mail is coming out of the mailbox downtown. So we need.
It's a facility that's needed by the community. This community, even though it's in a revitalization process, there are still long-lasting seniors, mid-seniors living here, and it's convenient and it's safe for them to be able to come and get mail here. I mean, with the recent, criminal activity, people posing as postal workers wearing uniforms, knocking on doors, and if they don't feel safe opening the door, they don't have far to go to get up here. If you move it, that means they have to go further to be able to pick up mail. There are going to be businesses coming in here as revitalization of the community is coming. Why not have a post office so businesses can be able to have quick access to the postal service?
Well, it's important to me. My mother is the first person in 3rd Ward, and I'm her son, and I'm a fixture in this community, and I'm not going nowhere, and we need this post office here. I'm a business owner as well, and I have a post office here, box, and I come here to get my mail, and so I need this post office to stay here.
Because there's a great need for this post office in this neighborhood. As I said, I was the first family, black family that moved in this neighborhood, and I was working in HISD, and the other post office, you'd have to wait for hours to get waited on, standing in the rain, and we have a lot of elderly people in here. And like you said, some of us can walk to the post office. So there's a great, great need for the post office in this neighborhood. So that's why we do not want them to close this post office. We want them to keep it open because it's greatly needed in this neighborhood. We're going to fight. We're going to fight.
And we are going to fight it. That's what we're hearing from this very historic and wonderful world of the 3rd Ward. Hey, David, can you go ahead and give us that information if people would like to write a letter to a written statement saying why the post office should not be closed and the reason why the post office should not be closed? Where should they make that contact?
Yeah, also make sure you write the office name and location, Southmore Post Office.
And it is called Southmore, correct?
Yes, Southmore Station Post Office. Okay. Send it to Vice President of Facilities, care of Sandra Rybicki, which is spelled Rybicki, Real Estate Specialist, U-S Postal Service, Southern Facilities Service Office, P.O. Box 667180, Dallas, Texas, 75266, 7180, And I'll probably post that on the Facebook page. You can get it there also.
That's great. And for those of you who don't know, we do have a Facebook page. It's for the KPFT Local News. Please go ahead and like us up. We always appreciate that.